What's the most insane true crime story you've heard of? 1. Mary Vincent. She was 15 and was hitchhiking to get back home. She was picked up by Lawrence Singleton, who tied her up, aped her, cut both of her arms off at the forearms, and threw her down a ditch off the side of the highway. Mary used mud to slow the bleeding, climbed up the ditch, and traveled 3 miles before she was picked up and given emergency care. She then went on to design her own prosthetic arms and became an artist. Truly inspiring. 2. The Ryan Waller story is wild. He was interrogated for allegedly unaliving his girlfriend while he had a bullet visibly lodged in his face. He kept telling the cops he was a victim and shot, but they didn't believe him. Instead of getting him medical help, they kept questioning him, and the delay left him with permanent brain damage. Prime example of police negligence. 3. The Gone Girl kidnapping in Vallejo, California. A rapist named Matthew Muller kidnaps a young woman from her home. He drugs both her and her husband and gives the husband insane instructions as a supposed ransom, keeps the young woman for days while aping her. Meanwhile, her husband is the chief suspect of the police, and to be fair, at first glance his real account sounds very made up. Eventually the woman is released, but it looks weird and is labeled a gone girl by the cops because movies of course inform reality, and now the cops are looking to charge her and the husband for wasting the time of law enforcement. The actual rapist is eventually caught in another kidnapping, and a cop in that other town eventually connects the dots and end the ordeal of the couple. 4. Oliver Town. Around 50 years ago, a guy held up a bank in Kenora, Ontario. He handed the bank teller a note asking for all the money. A large amount of explosives was strapped around his chest and a detonator was clenched between his teeth. He walked out the front door of the bank where a large group of people were gathered, tripped, and the explosives went off. They were never able to identify the man, so they gave him the nickname Oliver Town. All over town. 5. A story of a pregnant woman that joins an online Facebook group of other pregnant women. She then befriends a member and they get chatting. Eventually the pregnant woman invites the woman over for tea. Police then find the expecting mother murdered in her home and realize her baby is missing. Someone cut open her stomach and stole her child. They traced the communications on Facebook to a mother that just recently gave birth to her child. It turns out it was all a lie. The lady lied to her friends and family about being pregnant. Then befriends an actual pregnant lady just so she can murder her and steal her child. DNA tests proved the baby was not hers and is from the victim. Shook me to my core. 6. Where we live, the Harvey murders. 2 men randomly picked a house, went in, tied up mom and dad and young daughter in the basement, but other young daughter was spending the night and was being dropped off. Mom had to go to the door to get the daughter and do so without giving away what was happening, under threat of harm to the others. It was for nothing. The men unalived them all brutally and tried to set the basement on fire. It traumatized our city. Wonderful family, well known and loved. Taken away by a pair of criminal monsters.